What would Bob do? Bob is an amazing actor. I grew up with an actor.
Not a good one.
That was not nice.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know, it's your girl KylerB coming out with a new video. So today we're going to be talking about the Traitors US Season 3, Episode 4, and let's get right into the video because the episode left off like a cliffhanger. So, Gabby did see Danielle, or her Danielle, coming out of the bookshelf. Weird because both Danielle and Carolyn were coming out of the bookshelf, but because Danielle was talking, Gabby saw, heard her voice, and then she quickly turned back because she didn't want to, if she is a traitor, she didn't want to be killed. So with that being said, Danielle is getting sussed by Gabby now. So, the traitors, they all came out of the bookshelf, whatever. But the guys, they left the bookshelf open, the door to the bookshelf open. So Dylan, he's walking around the castle and then he sees the bookshelf open and he's like, oh, this was not like this before. Like, what's going on? He goes into the bookshelf. He sees that, things have, something has changed. It doesn't feel like the exact same something has changed. Like, the traitors were here. Like, this happened, broad daylight. Like, he was really on to them. Like, he doesn't know who, but he knew that something went down. The traitors were in there, and they just missed it. So Danielle, she comes in after Dylan, and basically is like, what are you doing in here? And I think a couple other people came into the bookshelf and was kind of, looking around. And, they were this close from Dylan to, trying to find out or try to figure out, what was going on. So Alan, he calls all the players to the outside of the castle and basically shows them the 3 coffins and that, the traitors basically, pick 3 names for a short list to kill for the night. They picked Jeremy, Nikki, and Sierra. So Sierra was just very upset. She's just like, yeah, no. Nikki, she was just upset. And then Jeremy, he was like, well, if it was Danielle, she probably knew I was onto her, whatever. So it was those 3. So everybody's kind of just shook that, they're gonna jump in a coffin and one of them are not gonna come to breakfast the next morning. So the traitors come down later on after Alan sent everybody to sleep. And, one of the reasons why Jeremy is in the coffin is because he basically sussed Danielle to both Bob the drag queen and Carolyn. And then the thing is that Rob is like, we all need to stay united. We all need to have each other's backs. If someone's sussing you, we need to take them out because it's too early for us to lose a member of the traitors. We until later down, we can lose you guys, but not this early on. We need to work together. So because he told 2 people about Danielle, Danielle's like, yeah, he needs to get out. So, Carolyn, she wasn't too on board with it because she's like, oh, he's by himself. And before his final words to the traitors was that, I will work with you. Even though I'm onto you, I would work with you. But I'm just like, granted, he will work with you, but later on, until the end, they'll work with you until they're ready to cut you loose. So I'm just like, is that a chance you're willing to take? We don't know. I mean, granted, he did, play on Survivor, so he might be, adaptable and flexible with that. But at the end of the day, he wants to win the cash pot. So you're going to have to cut him sometime, somewhere, or he's going to get you. So evidently they do kill off Jeremy. It's kind of sad. Carolyn was upset with that because, that's her Survivor dude. They took out Tony. Now they took out Jeremy. She's basically by herself with Rob. And she's like, I don't know why I let Danielle do that. But the thing is when somebody susses you, you need to take them out. And the thing is, Rob was on board because he wants to be working as a unit with his fellow traitors. He was on board, Bob the drag queen was on board, Danielle's on board. So out of 4, 3 out of 4 is agreeing to yeah, that's the right choice. So I mean, granted, I understand Carolyn's oh, we could work with him. But if he's telling 2 people to watch out for Danielle, then it's not a good look, because later down the line, her name's gonna come up. So get to the breakfast table. They're like, oh, who did they kill? Who did they kill? Gabby's like one of the first people, and she's like, oh, I saw Danielle. You know, I heard Danielle coming out of the bookcase, but I don't know. So they're like, Danielle? No, Danielle's just too worried every time. Like, she can't be a traitor, da da da. Like, everybody's just like, yeah, no, Danielle, no. Is that when Danielle gets to the breakfast table, you know, Gabby and Robin are like, oh, we heard people coming out of the bookshelf or inside the bookshelf. So Danielle just fessed up. She just like, yeah, I was in the bookshelf with Dylan. So as soon as she said that, Gabby's like, oh, well, since she, you know, fessed up to it, maybe she isn't the traitor. Like, she's like, yeah, that got debunked real quick. So with that being said, you know, her eyes being on Danielle kind of like went low. But then the thing is that the traitors had to come and actually put a nail in one of the, you know, people's coffin, but hear the footsteps and who's walking around them. So Nikki comes down to the breakfast table and she's like, you know, one of the footsteps are very faint, very like soft, you know, could be a woman walking around. So, you know, Danielle's asking those questions. They're like, oh, how many of the traitors are there? Da 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 da. They're like, it's like, you know, has to be at least 2. Da 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 da. So Nikki's like, oh, you know, Danielle is asking me questions. Like, I'm onto her. So I'm just like, they got so many people trying to suss out Danielle. And I'm just like, bro, like, at first it was Gabby, but it got debunked. And then now it's Nikki because, you know, the questions. So whatever. Anyways, we get to the challenge, and the challenge today, we're gonna talk about it because it was basically they had to win $20,000. They had to lift up like heavy blocks up from a hill. So, and there was 10 heads and 18 contestants. So the 10 people who put their heads on a block are shielded for tonight for murder. So 8 people are at risk. So with that being said, you know, you got people who can't, you know, all the guys basically running up with their heads first, waiting to somebody to bring up a body and then just plant a head on there. So like almost all the guys did that. Derek, he was going to do that, but he was like, no, he needs help because he got Bob Harper, who's like really struggling, you know, going up and down the hill. Like, you know, he had to help. He had to look back for his fellow teammates and like help him. Bob the drag queen was helping him, like all of that. You know, even Brittany was like helping Bob Harper carry up a body up there and stuff like that. But yeah, that challenge, I think Derek was the only one out of the new guys that didn't get his head on the block. But Wes and Rob did. Bob the drag queen, Chriselle, Danielle, Bob Harper, and I think a couple other people. Sierra didn't get one because everybody thinks Sierra is you know, a traitor. They're like, oh, at least one traitor has to be in that box to like throw off the sense of them being a faithful. At least one traitor. So they're like, oh, it has to be Sierra, it has to be Nikki. So it had to be one of them. So Wes thinks it's Nikki, you know, Derek thinks it's Sierra. So it's like, you know, it just going back and forth. So at the end of the challenge, they won the $20,000. Bob the drag queen says, you know, at least one of the 3 new guys has to be a traitor. So I'm just like, why in the world would he say that? Why would he put suspicion on one of the new guys, which is Wes, Derek, and Rob? Rob, you already know Rob is a traitor, so why would you put suspicion onto one of the new guys being a traitor? So as soon as Rob heard that, Rob was like, yeah, no, why would you do that? Yeah, we're gonna have to take you out. Like, he just did a whole 180. He was like, yeah, forget keeping everybody safe. We're gonna have to take Bob the drag queen out. And that one sentence or that one little, you know, thing that he said at the end of the challenge caused Rob to basically call the cavalry, come to Dylan, basically like, yeah, we're gonna take Bob the drag queen out tonight. We got the votes, we're gonna take Rob the drag queen out tonight. Like, we're taking him out tonight. Like, he come to everybody, they're like, I don't know. I think Dolores, she was like, I do feel like he is a traitor, but it's just too early to speak on it. And Dylan was like, yeah, it's too early to speak on it. But Rob, he woke it up. He was like, yeah, we're doing Bob tonight. We're doing Bob tonight. We're doing Bob tonight. So then we got Derek, who's like, no, I'm sticking to my guns. We're going after Sierra. We have Wes like, no, we're sticking to our guns. They're going after Nikki. So it was like a bloodbath. So then Rob, after he's like trying to rally up everybody, he comes to Danielle and Carolyn out in the open, basically like, oh, can I speak to you? And he's like, yeah, we're gonna have to do Bob. We're gonna have to vote for Bob out tonight. So they're like, Danielle's like, no, don't do it. But he's just like, yeah. So then after Danielle's kind of over it, he's trying to speak to Carolyn, and Carolyn was like a little bit off. So then the thing about the Danielle, Bob the drag queen is her ride or die. I mean, you saw how quickly he told Danielle the tea that Jeremy was speaking on her. And we see what happened to Jeremy. He got up out of there. So that is her ride or die within the Traitors. So, trying to take him out is, kind of like really not beneficial to Danielle's game. Come to the round table. Wes starts it off. He's like, yeah, we basically deduced that at least one of the Traitors has to be in those coffins. And we say that since in wrestling, whatever, wrestling is kind of like a show person sport, whatever. You could be like an actor, I kind of think that you're a traitor. So he tells that, he was saying right directly next to Nikki, told that to her face. And then Nikki basically heard that and basically was like, oh, well, you played all these challenge games, so I think you're the traitor. So they're like, oh, we should be looking at you. So then they were like, they're just like, oh, we should be looking at Sierra because everybody, made a plea to the Traitors, and Sierra's the only one who used profanity and started cursing at them. And then they're like, that is how Sierra speaks. That's how Sierra talks, whatever. That's her personality, whatever. So Derek's like, yeah, we're going to take out Sierra. So Sierra's like trying to make her case and plead. So Rob is basically saying that nobody's saying Bob the drag queen. Like, nobody's really picking him. He's going to have to speak up on his own behalf. So he's like, oh, there's only one person who basically, dictates all the moves in here. One person who try to basically gather everyone's around in this castle, who basically, is the spokesperson of this castle, And then he looks directly at Bob the drag queen.
Bob the drag queen.
Bob the drag queen was like shook because he wasn't thinking that Rob would come after him. He was like, this is an easy night. We're taking out either Nikki or Sierra. It's either Nikki or Sierra. He's like, it's an easy night for him. He did not think Rob would turn on him this quickly. Basically go aiming after, Bob. So Bob is like, you know what? I am not a traitor. I am a faithful. And he swore on it. And I'm just like, okay, Rob's looking at him like, I know what I know. He's like, you swearing on the Lord's name in vain, doing all of that, knowing good and well you're lying through your teeth, okay? And Rob's just looking at him like, yeah, I'm getting you out one way or another.
Your words. I swear to God that I am a faithful. Okay, let me say 2 words. You're not.
So, with that being said, Dylan, he speaks up too. He's like, yeah, I think you're a traitor, He's basically saying you're an actor, I live with an actor. He's like, not a good one. Basically throwing shade at Zac Efron. But I'm just like, bro, why he getting astray? it was just like, it was very messy. It was very messy. Anyways, after that, they start to vote. And it was very messy. They started voting, you know, Wes was Nikki, Derek was Sierra. It was really between, it was like, you know, Sierra, Nikki votes. Like, not everybody was convinced on Bob. You know, Danielle, she actually made the decision to actually vote for Bob, which that was like the turning point. Like, you know, your ride or die turning on you as well. Like, it's one thing for Rob to turn on you, but your ride or die to also turn on you. That hurt Bob. Like, he knew as soon as that vote was casted by Danielle, he knew he was up out of there. So, and Carolyn later on, her vote was revealed to vote Bob out too. So, with that being said, you know, the votes came up to Bob having the most votes, and he really was an actor through and through until the very last second.
Guys, I said I swear to God. God! And that was a lie, because I don't believe in God. I'm a traitor.
He's like, I swore, on the Lord's name. And he's like, you know, but you know that's a lie because he doesn't believe in the Lord. I'm like, everybody shook, because I'm just like, wow. Like, that, you know, that was a very shocking revelation though. But, you know, it is what it is. They got Bob the drag queen out. He basically, even though Rob did him dirty, he basically just like, it's a game at the end of the day. And, you know, that's what he said. It's a game at the end of the day. Everybody's so happy, Dylan happy, Rob, everybody cheering on Rob, like, oh yeah, Rob was so, like, he wasn't letting up off of Bob, like, he was so stern on Bob, Dylan's so happy because he was right about his assumption about Bob being a traitor, and it was revealed. So I'm just like, whoa. So they're making Rob to be a hero when Rob's a traitor as well. It's like, they're all giving all his props when he's a traitor too. Like, which is really funny because they really played into his hand. Like, he can play a flawless game if he was a solo traitor. But essentially he got Danielle and Carolyn working. So Danielle, she was furious. She was like, like, if you're willing to turn on Bob, what are you gonna do to us? So she's like, you know, very upset with Rob. I don't think she can really, you know, stand him, can really talk to him. I can't wait to see what the turret looks like in the next episode. But she is furious with Rob. We see in the preview that she speaks to Carolyn, like, yeah, we're gonna have to turn on Rob next.
What went down yesterday? We're on team, yes. Why wouldn't I feel like he's gonna come for me too?
And, you know, we'll see what happens because Wes has his tea. Wes is like, you can't be 100% sure someone's a traitor unless you're a traitor as well. That's the only way. So Tom, she looks shook. He's like, what? They're like, oh, he was still 100% sure. But Wes is like, the only way you can be 100% sure someone's a traitor is if you're a traitor as well.
Do you?
Yeah.
100%?
Yeah, if you're a traitor.
Oh.
That's the only way. So Wes has his tea. Danielle, you know, got it. You know, Carolyn basically like, you know, if you're willing to take out one of your teammates, yeah, I might have to like get you out too. But, you know, if they get out Rob, you know, Carolyn's still in the best position as a traitor. Danielle, I mean, she still has a little bit of longevity of being a traitor without getting caught. But we'll have to see. If they do take out Rob that soon, then they're gonna be like, if he was so sure about Bob and you're so sure about Rob, then what makes you, like, if you take out Rob, what makes you say you're not a traitor as well. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We have to see in the next episode. But it was just a bloodbath, okay? But to be honest, Rob had a point. Like, if you're gonna throw out his name, like, after the end of the you know, challenge of the day, he couldn't trust him anymore. I mean, the thing is, he should have spoke to him and actually talked to him, but I think for the element of surprise, you know, for him to not really be prepared at the round table, I think that was the best way to do it, is to you know, speak to him at the round table, get him out, you know, rally up troops, whatever, to get him out. And that's what he did in the end. But that's basically it. But anyways, you know, the traitors, 3 traitors live to see another day. We'll see what happens on episode 5. But anyway, guys, if you like the video, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, comments concerning that. Subscribe to my channel, subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Peace.